Once upon a time, there was a prince. This prince was strong, he was brave, he beat everyone in all their battles. But this prince, he was lonely. He was sad. He needed to find himself a best friend. So, our prince decided to go and look for a best friend somewhere. Where's he going to go? He's going to go somewhere around the world. He's going to go to Australia. Yes, he's going to go to Australia. But how's he going to get there? How's he going to get there? He can't walk there. He's going to go in a helicopter. Amazing. All right. So he gets into his helicopter. That's it. And he turns on the rotary blades and he flies all the way around the world from his beautiful castle across to Australia, where he meets the Australian princess. She is there, stood in a corked cap in the middle of a kangaroo field. We have some kangaroos in there, and our princess arrived through the middle of these kangaroos. And she said, "All right, mate, nice to meet you." And he said, "Hello, princess, will you be my best friend?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know, mate. I've got a Barbie later. I can't be late for that, so I'm afraid no. I'm too busy, you see." So, thank you very much, Australian princess. Our prince, he was still lonely, and he still needed to find a best friend. So, where else is he going to go? He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to go to America. Yes, brilliant. He goes all the way to Hollywood. That's it. But how's he going to get to Hollywood? He can't go in a helicopter. How's he going to get there? He goes on a motorboat. Amazing. All right, so he gets on his motorboat, he turns it on, and he shoots across the waves, up and down the big waves, through a storm, all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, all the way to America. And he arrives in Hollywood under the big lights, under the big sign that says Hollywood, and he's ready to meet his princess. So he smartens himself up. That's it. That's good. All right, and he walks down Hollywood Boulevard. That's it. And he spots there on the red carpet the Princess of America. And he goes across to the red carpet and he sees her, and he says, "Princess, will you be my best friend?" And she says, "Oh my goodness, I mean, I'm in the middle of this movie and I can't get out of it. I've got this premiere to go to, and I've got to meet the director, and I've got this audition for the next show, and I just can't. I've got no time, all right?" So his heart was broken again, and he had to go and find somewhere else. So he tried one last time. Where did he go to next? Where did he go to? He went to... Yes, to France. Brilliant. He went all the way to Paris. But how did he get there? How's he going to get there? He can't go by helicopter. He can't go by motorboat. How's he going to get there? He goes... Yes, he goes on a pogo stick all the way to France. He pogo sticks all his way around the top of America, through Canada. He goes up all through the Arctic Circle and down through Sweden and Finland probably, and down into France, where he arrives in Paris. It's beautiful. He can see the Eiffel Tower. He can see people eating frogs' legs and snails. Yum. And he looks across, and there, under the Arc de Triomphe, there is the Princess of France. And he says, "Princess, will you be my best friend?" And she says, I don't know. I think I'm a little busy. There are so many different people who want to see me, who want to be my best friend, and I've just got too many best friends to have just one. So I am afraid I have to say no for now. And he was so sad. He went, his head hung low. He went and trudged his way back to his castle. He sat down on his sofa after getting a big tub of Ben and Jerry's out of the freezer, and he turned on Netflix and watched Paw Patrol or something, and just cried into his Ben and Jerry's. It was so sad. But at that point, what he didn't know was that outside it had started to rain. And through that rain, there was walking a girl. So can you have one girl? You're going to walk around the circle, all the way around, and we are going to make our own storm as you're going through, okay? Just trying to act like you're in the middle of a storm. Okay, so here we go. Copy me. Everybody copy me. Go. Thunder, stamp your feet, stamp your feet, stamp your feet. So as she was walking around in the middle of the storm, 3 important things happened to her. Number 1, the wind picked up so much that her crown was blown off. Number 2 was that the rain was so strong and heavy that her clothes became sodden and wet and dripping. And all that rain made mud, and her feet got stuck in the mud so many times that she'd lost her shoes, and the bottom of her dress had become filthy. So she walked up to the door of the prince's castle, and she knocked on the door. The prince stood up from his Ben and Jerry's and Netflix marathon around the side, and he opened the door. And he saw in front of him a beautiful but the prince stood up from his Ben and Jerry's and Netflix marathon, and he opened the door, and he saw in front of him a very beautiful girl, but not a princess. Not a princess at all. In fact, this girl was in such a state that her clothes had started to drip onto his floor, creating a river, a puddle, running all the way into his house and soaking his carpet. The prince got angry. Anyway, this girl said, "Hello, Prince. I'm the princess. I'd like to be your best friend." And the prince said, "A princess? We'll see about that." Anyway, the prince came up with this amazing idea to test whether she was a princess or not. So, he got his servants, all of his servants in the whole castle, that's all of you, great. He got all the servants to stand up and scatter and go and find as many soft things in the castle as they could. So they brought cushions, they brought pillows, blankets, duvets, mattresses, everything they could find across the whole castle. And his manservant, that's me, stacked them up as high as they could go in the princess's bedroom. While no one was watching, the prince went to the freezer and he picked out a bag of frozen peas. He picked one pea out of the bag and put it right at the bottom, underneath the very bottom mattress, where no one would know where it was. So he welcomed the princess into her bedroom and said, "Here's your bed." And she climbed up a ladder to the very, very top, and then slipped herself underneath the duvet on the very top mattress. What you need to imagine here is that this bed is all the way up to the ceiling. It's so high she can only just squeeze in between the top mattress and the ceiling. And when she's lying down, her nose is just touching the ceiling itself. She's feeling a little bit squashed. But she tries to go to sleep. The moon comes out, she can see it coming through the window, and she tries to sleep on her back. Yeah. But she starts feeling a bit uncomfortable. Something in her bed's a bit uncomfy. So she turns on her side and tries to sleep that way. But that doesn't work. So she rolls on her front and spreads out like a starfish. But that doesn't make her comfy either. So she curls up like a hedgehog. She curls up like a hedgehog and tries to fall asleep, but she can't sleep at all. Her bed is so uncomfortable all night. So the next morning, the sun comes up, the cockerel gives it cuckoo, and in comes the prince. He comes in and he says, "Hello, princess. It's time for breakfast. How did you sleep?" Anyway, the princess, she climbs down the ladder and looks at him, and she says, "How did I sleep? I slept terribly. This is the worst bed I've ever slept in. It is so uncomfortable." Anyway, the prince, while he was being shouted at, got a bit of a smile on his face. And the princess said, "Why are you smiling? I haven't slept all night and you're there grinning to yourself." And the prince quietly reaches underneath the bed and pulls out the one frozen pea and tells her, "That is how I know that you really are a princess." And he found outside her crown, which had been blown off. He put it back onto her head, and they were best friends forever.